Hi, so we are here today with Anna Chapman from Session Kit. Hi, Anna.
Hi. Hi.
Good to see you from across the pond again. I know it's a really busy
Yes.
time for you.
Yeah, it's a crazy time at the moment, but it's all good.
Yeah, so this week has been a bit bananas, I know, with Fashion
Mm.
Week and everything. So what have you been up to?
So obviously with Fashion Week approaching, it's kind of basically our busiest time. It's just, yeah, it's quite full on, just making sure that we have enough stock in for the orders. This is now when people really start to place their orders so that they have everything that they need for Fashion Week. And actually during Fashion Week, it tends to also be really busy, I think, just because of all the session stylists having session kit tools in their kit. So I think when they're backstage, they see everyone's tools and then they're like, oh, where's that from? And then they start going online. So it's traffic wise, it's a really busy time for us. Through the website, people ordering consistently through Fashion Week. But prior to Fashion Week, we just get a lot of orders, getting all the session stylists getting their kits ready for the shows. So it's quite intense. So I
Great.
try to make sure I have as much stock as possible, but I source in from Japan and all around Europe and America. So there's a lot of time differences and language barriers sometimes with suppliers and stuff like that. Shipping overseas is just always a little bit trickier. So it's very hard to predict when everything's going to arrive. So it's just a lot of juggling plates at the moment, as well as also myself being a session stylist and also being really busy. So
Yes.
it's just a crazy time, but it's good. It's all good craziness. So it's fine.
Yeah. Well, this is your peak season, and this is
Mhm.
why you do what you do.
Yeah.
So tell us why you put Session Kit together. What made you start that business?
So I think Session Kit basically was born out of my own frustration, basically. Just to give a little bit of background on myself, I started my career working for Trevor Sorbie in London, actually sorry, in Brighton, and then I started also working in the London salon as well. And because of my experience working with Trevor Sorbie, because he had his product range in Boots, so he had electrical tools and wet line products, so shampoos and styling products all in Boots. Plus, he started to expand his salons. So we were also doing a lot of imagery for the salons, for the products. So I started to really kind of launch, and just in general, actually, the salon is a very creative salon. I mean, everyone knows Trevor.
Mhm.
Creatively, he always fed that within his staff. So we also did a lot of hair competitions, so British Hairdressing Awards, Colour Trophy, all of those big awards, the It List. So we were constantly, as an artistic team, always developing, doing new photo shoots and, photography for the salon and stuff. So I started to sort of work my way into doing more photographic work, which obviously feeds more into the session styling world of things. And I just loved it. For me, just it fed me. I kind of needed that extra thing. And for me, I was like, this is wow, this is where I need to be.
Yeah,
Um,
and it's very different from the salon and behind the chair. It's got its whole,
very,
own world and
yeah,
level of excitement
yeah.
and
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, it's hard work. It's extremely
Hmm.
hard work, being a session stylist. You never know what jobs you're going to be on, what jobs will get confirmed. It's all last minute. I know, like, we've been trying to arrange meetings and stuff. It's not easy for it's not easy. We're juggling a lot of unpredicted time schedules, and fitting that around our lives in general is quite stressful. Whereas working in the salon, you know what days you're working, you know how long you're going to be there, so you have a lot more structure working in the salon. So it's not for everyone to be a session stylist. There's pros and cons to everything, but just for me personally, I just felt that it just sort of meeting new creatives every day, being in a new setting every day, was something that just really excited me. And I absolutely love it. And I feel so grateful that I get paid to go do what I absolutely love, because no matter how hard I've worked that week, it still doesn't really feel like work. I feel tired because I've got up early. Being on set is like normally a good 12-hour day, but I feel so liberated working with all the creatives that I work with and like-minded people. And so, and you meet new people most days, or, you might be on a job for a week, but you're meeting new people all the time. So yeah, I feel incredibly grateful to, being paid to do what I absolutely love.
Yeah. Well, it's about being able to do what you're passionate about and follow your passion. So no matter how tired you are, it's just the passion that fuels your energy and the
100%.
ability to get through those really tough, busy days. So from being a session stylist, that led you to creating this kit.
Yeah, so what kind of what happened was I was working because Angelo Saramara also worked at Trevor Sorbie at the time when I was there, and funny enough, he was sort of the very first person that introduced me to the Japanese hair grips that I have on the website. He did my hair up for an event with Trevor, and I can honestly say that my hair was put up. Obviously, he's an absolute hair genius. So set aside the fact of his actual pure talent, which I generally believed at the time, I was like, oh, it's just amazing at doing hair up because it felt so secure.
It did it with like 3 pins too.
Yeah,
right?
and I got home.
And you're like, what?
I took out the hair grips and I was like trying to find more. And I was like, no, there's literally 2 hair grips in the whole up.
Yeah.
And the Japanese hair grips are, because they're made for the Japanese market, they're not quite black, but they're very dark, very, very, very dark metallic blue. It's not a bright blue or anything like that, but they're very unusual looking. They don't come in Caucasian hair colors, so it's very different to what we see on the market that's available normally in the UK. So I was like, where are these from? And they're so delicate as well. They're like super delicate, like super fine, but very strong and really well made. So I was like, where are these from? That's what started it. I didn't get anywhere from Angelo. He didn't tell me anything. Nothing really developed. I just thought they were amazing and quite unusual. But that was the first sort of time that I came across them and came across how amazing they were. Then I started to work backstage at Fashion Week. And I was lucky enough to assist Eugene Solomon, and then I saw the grips and I saw them.
There they are again.
Everywhere.
I must have these. Yeah.
I was like picking them off of the floor. That sounds so disgusting, but I'm not joking.
Let me just clean up today. I got this.
Everyone has had them in their kit, because everyone who regularly worked with Eugene, because Eugene personally absolutely loves those particular grips. And he had a lot of Japanese assistants that would bring them over from Japan, and so he had them regularly to easily available to him, and he and all of his team had them, because they knew that's what the type of grips he wanted. But at that time I just started in the session industry, and I was working on different people's teams. I wasn't on a sole team. And so I didn't have access to those grips. But when I saw them, I was literally like, okay, to be successful in this team, I'm going to need a couple of these. And people were just like taking them out. They had like ample of them. They were just, like throwing them on the floor backstage. And I was like,
you're like picking stuff up.
Yeah, I needed them. And it was at that point really that for me, it really opened my eyes to what we didn't have easily available to us. And I was like, this is mad, because I live in London, and London is like the leading city for beauty and fashion. Like, it's such, not just one of the leading cities, but it's a big city where,
it's on the top for me. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I was like, just shocked. I was like, why have we not got access to these grips? That's what started it. And then I looked around and I was like, hang on a minute. There's brushes, there's grips, there's clips, there's pins, there's an array, pin boxes. I was like, this is, I can't, I'm like, we don't have access to this stuff. And yet, I was working still at Trevor Sorbie at this point. And, I'm working for a really good salon. We're doing really amazing creative stuff, but yet we don't actually have access to the right tools. And for me, that was just like a light bulb moment, really. I just thought, this is insane and I want to do something about it.
Right.
And I think my background working at Trevor's, I was always really interested when we were doing the product development, because Trevor used to develop, the products himself. So on the artistic team, which I was a member of the artistic team, we would help develop those products. We'd test them out, we'd give our advice. And then I, was brought in into some of the marketing meetings. And I loved hearing the sort of business side of things as well. Like I was really fascinated into the marketing of things, and it just really interested me as well. As so I suppose because it kind of interested me as well to have that sort of business, but also the main thing for me was like, I need to fix this for the hairdressing industry.
Well, you're literally have your hands in that field, and you are literally using these products and tools. And we know as a professional, no matter how great you are, without the right tools, you're not going to be able to accomplish the final results that you need. Exactly. So the better your tools, the quicker, more efficient, better the outcome is.
Exactly. So for me, I was just like, I need to try and do this. Let's try and do this. And so to start off with, I actually didn't have a platform, an online platform. I didn't have Session Kit name. What I actually did to start off with was I had a contact in Japan through a family member of mine, and I reached out to her and I asked if she could get hold of these grips for me. And I literally just brought over 100 boxes purely because I knew that my fellow session stylists, all the ones that are working backstage at Fashion Week, are going to want these grips. Mm-hmm. And so I brought over all the styles, all the different styles. It was literally only about 100 boxes. It wasn't a huge amount. And I just got them over and I just messaged all my friends and I said, look, I'm going to be getting these over. Obviously I was just, selling them on for cost. What I got them in, I was just saying to them that, I've got access to these. Once they come in, I'll be able to work out what the customs is, and then I can let you know how much they are. Let me know if you want any. Just as like a, just as a fellow friend, just Right. So, and they were like, "Oh my God, yes, please! I can't believe you've got."
Oh my God, these magic clips that everybody can't get their hands on.
I know. So then they were like, "Yes, 100%. Let us know as soon as you got them, and I'll take 5 boxes." And it was like, "Okay, fine." And this just then snowballed, literally. And I was doing this all over Instagram and text messages because depending on how well I knew these people, Mm-hmm. And then because everyone was Instagramming that they got these grips from me, then people were DMing me, hairdressers that I didn't really know, and were maybe a little bit more, younger, not as experienced hairdressers that, were just seeing, oh my God, where are these Japanese grips coming from? And I just want some. And then they were sort of saying, because the boxes are £26 a box, which I think probably the average grip is around, I don't know now actually, because I haven't brought anywhere else than my own Japanese grips for a long time, but I would say maybe £15 for a box of grips, maybe. So they're a little bit more expensive. And for the younger hairdresser, they were sort of saying, is there any way we could maybe just buy a smaller box just so that we can try them out? Because of course they hadn't, I'd seen Eugene use these, I'd seen for myself how amazing these were, as had all the other session stylists, so they were happy to spend £26. They were like, deal done.
Well, and they know you need a lot of them, so therefore they're going to get a big box. So you managed to figure out how to make it smaller for someone who needs less.
Yeah. So then this is when, because I was also looking at all the other tools that I felt we needed in the same time as doing all this, and I was thinking, right, I need to expand this. This needs to be way bigger, and that's when I launched Session Kit. So then I gave it a name, Session Kit, and got my logo, designed my logo.
Love your logo, love your branding.
Thank you. It's all just my own vision. I have no skills in marketing or graphic design or anything. So I have to admit,
you've got great style, clearly.
Oh,
so that's good. And so how long ago did you launch it now?
Oh God. Probably, actually, I think it's been at least 7 years now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I think it's been about 7 years. But yeah, so then we launched the website, because basically it was becoming impossible. I actually had a little booklet where I kept having to write everyone's names, how many boxes they wanted, so I could try and work out how much the shipping would be just on my way into Trevisorby, into work.
Right, just making little Post-it notes or notes in your notebook.
I couldn't keep it otherwise.
Yeah,
so that was the only way I was sort of managing it, and I'm very much a pen and paper girl anyway. I mean, so tech I'm not so good at. So once we've sort of once I had the website up and running, then I could actually take orders properly, and the website would work out all the shipping, and it became a lot more easier. And I developed the shop, just then started to add more tools to the site. But then what I found, what I really wanted to make different on Session Kit was, obviously, because it's run by myself and I am a session stylist myself, I know what tools we need, and I know the quality that they need to be.
Right. And so how do you vet your tools? How do you find these specific tools that you need? Is it just from seeing other stylists and you go, hey, where did you get that? Or now you have your manufacturers?
Well, no, the beginning was like that. The very beginning was like that. So all the brushes that I was seeing backstage used by different international session stylists, I was like, that's amazing, okay, so where did you get that from? Oh, Japan. And then I'd have to try and find the manufacturer, which, believe me, is way trickier than it seems.
Yeah, and just looking up a name and trying to find them.
It's really actually quite difficult when you're not based in the country
or speak the language, especially if it's Japan.
Yeah. And also cultural differences as well. The way Japan deals with business is so different to the UK, as is America, as in everywhere. Like everywhere culturally, they have different ways of dealing with business. I'm also not a business person. I'm a hairdresser, so I've, along this whole journey, learned so much about retail. I mean, my partner works in retail, but I have no, I don't know the language that they use.
Right. And you just learned by doing, because you're in it, and you just, that's okay. That's how a lot of people learn.
And you make mistakes, and you just learn as you go along. I mean, that's literally all I'm doing. And I suppose I'm just driven by my passion for my industry, and just making sure that everyone has easy access. That for me, that whole original frustration that I had for myself, where I couldn't get access to the tools easily, is my drive all the way. Just making sure that everyone can access everything that they need, which is why I wanted to make it an online platform for everyone. So everyone, and we ship globally. There are some countries that are a little bit challenging to ship to, but on a whole, we ship everywhere. So I wanted to just make sure that everyone all around the world, all the hairdressers out there, can get the tools that they need. If they're coming over to Milan, to Paris, you know, everyone everywhere can get access to the same tools. Because especially when I was working backstage for so long, I was on Guido Palau's core team for 3.5 years. And he, you know, when I was working backstage, you know, some of the, you know, hairdressers would be like, oh, yeah, well, I can easily get that brush in my country, but, you know, I can't get those clips, and the section clips are so easy, you know, well, actually, the ones that I've got aren't easy to get in the UK anymore, but they were at one point, you know.
Right.
And so there's just certain things that in some people's countries are easy to get hold of, you know. For example, the setting clips. So the setting clips we're launching tomorrow, I think, and they are the tiny aluminium small clips that are regularly used for setting like pin curls or traditional.
Right, with the extra little buffer piece on it. Yep.
No, not with the plastic round. They're just
Okay.
very thin.
Okay, like flat, yeah.
Clips. Now, in Paris, in France, and in Italy, they are easy to find. No problem. In the US, in Japan, they don't stock these particular ones in Japan. In the UK, you can't find them anywhere.
Yeah, it's interesting. You know, you think that there's such a that every country would use a variation of these things. So yeah, it's interesting that it's not easy to find some of these things. I mean, you've done the legwork for stylists that need to find the best of the best. And of course, as a stylist, depending on how far into your career you are, your kit gets bigger and bigger and better and better.
Yes, exactly.
But this is really great for somebody, especially who is a fairly new stylist to the editorial world, to really just find exactly what they need all in one spot.
Yeah, I think, you know, I suppose Session Kit is also kind of quite an educational platform, in the sense that I am definitely more focused on the session industry just because it is my industry that I am currently in. And the tools that we use in the session industry are different to what you use every day in the salon. So I feel like what we stock at Session Kit is everything that a hairdresser in general needs, whether or not you're working in theatre and film, or you're a celebrity session stylist, or you're a fashion session stylist, or you're working every day in the salon. These tools are amazing in general for every hairdresser there is. However, when you work backstage at Fashion Week, or you're starting to get into the session industry, there are certain tools that you need that you wouldn't necessarily need every day in the salon. So you might use, if you're being creative, if you're on the art team, you know, you're doing things like that, you want to push your creativity a bit further. But for your everyday client, for example, when I was working in the salon, I did hardly any hair up. And I know that there are salons that do more hair up.
Yeah, unless you're in the wedding, but also if you're a wedding stylist, this would be a really good kit too, because it really creates structured looks, and you have the specific tools to create those structured looks. It's not like your everyday salon client is going to want you know, huge hair. It's like, give me a giant, I want a giant fro, you know.
I mean, we have obviously amazing blow drying brushes, which obviously are used every day in the salon. We have great Japanese vent, you know, the classic vent brushes, the denim brushes, those sort of shape brushes that are used every day in the salon. So there are tools that are, you know, that can be used in the salon every single day, but hair up brushes, grips, we have something called the crepe paper, which it actually is like it's traditional paper that is actually used for barbers around the neck, so that the neck trimmings don't go down to you know, down further down onto
their shirt
and stuff. So we have that, but in the session industry, we use that to help set the hair flat. And we also use it to like wrap it around the ponytail if we want the ponytail to remain very, very clean and crisp,
sleek,
and sleek. Because when the models, once you've done the models, they go off, they go outside, you know,
Yeah. You're like,
they're
sorry,
here,
you
there,
can't
and
go outside.
everywhere.
You're not allowed to smoke. What are you doing? Where are you going?
They're here, there, and everywhere. And then
Yeah.
they go up to line up and they're getting changed. They're having fittings. There's a lot going on. So
To protect the
it
hair, right?
and just keeps it nice and slim and very compact
Until they're about to go on stage,
until
and then you take it off, kind of thing, right?
It's very easy to take off.
Mm-hmm.
It's great for Afro-Caribbean hair, you know,
Mm-hmm.
textured hair. It's amazing for that. So if you want to flat and shape the hair, or super make it really, really, really tight and flat, they're amazing for that. So, you know, so that's not necessarily what you're going to use in the salon again,
Sure.
unless
Right.
work.
Right. Now, your site also has videos about certain tools and how to create looks with specific tools. So are you going to get into more of like a digital education side of things with Session Kit, or is that just more or less to support some of the tools and products that you carry?
So that was something that we actually got asked to do as an editorial for another magazine. Which was like a step where they did like an interview. They wanted to interview us. Another magazine is a really beautiful magazine, fashion magazine over here, and they it was you know, like an editorial basically. So I was in charge of I worked closely with a photographer, and we did all the videos of it, and they did like an interview alongside it, because they just found what I was doing at Session Kit really fascinating and really, you know, great for the beauty industry. So that was something completely separate, and obviously I've got it on the website because it does really help showcase the tools and what you can use them for. But yeah, we would like to embark into online and digital education. We do already have our education section on the website, and we were doing an amazing course, which I'm looking to start back up again, which is the Backstage Bootcamp course, which is so amazing and so popular. I have a waiting list, like in my notes on my phone.
You mean your written notes? Yeah.
I have a massive waiting list for our course.
Yes.
And yeah, that was really important to me, actually. The whole process, you know, the whole way through, all my thoughts when it comes to Session Kit is about honesty and transparency, and not allowing, I suppose, remaining very independent, because it allows me to not have any political status on anything. I'm not affiliated.
Right. You're not brand related. You are
I'm
omni-brands.
just a big open book, and I am very happy to work alongside certain brands. Like, for example, for the Backstage Bootcamp course, L'Oreal Professional very kindly sponsored the course by providing us products to use. And I'm very happy to do that, because I believe in L'Oreal's products. It you know, they're perfect for what we're doing. We're teaching a session stylist course. We need a great hairspray. We need a great gel for the wig wrap, you know, so they are perfect for that. And I'm very happy and very grateful to have brands on board that respect what we're doing. Allows me to, you know, work alongside them, but also not get involved in the politics of being caught in a situation where I have to promote something.
Where you're represented by a brand and you need to do things a certain way based on their culture and their you know, being an employee and all that. So with these boot camps, where are they? How often are they? What do you expect from a boot camp?
So we do that in the UK, and we've done about 6 of them, and they have been an incredible success every time I do them. I mean, they're sold out in like the last one we did was sold out in 2 days.
Wow. And how many people come, or what's the cap on it?
It's 12 for one class, purely because it's completely hands-on. And Alfie Sackett is, so both me and Alfie designed the course. Alfie Sackett is a session stylist. He's represented by LGA. He's amazing. He's very, very talented. And he was Eugene Solomon's first assistant. And that's how I know Alfie personally, because Alfie was his first assistant when I was also assisting. So we go back a long way, but I knew that the way that Alfie had been trained by Eugene is so methodical and so precise that I believe, and I think it's probably going to my background of working at Trevor Sorbie, because Trevor Sorbie was Vidal Sassoon trained. So my training was very methodical, very sectioned, very neat.
You're talking about traditional old school training, like right from, the guru days. Yes.
Yeah. But I believe that you kind of need to know the rules to break the rules. That's my philosophy on that. I mean, I think that was Alexander McQueen actually that said that, not me, but I believe that you have to know those rules off by heart to break them down and make them your own. You have to know how to technically do something really, really well, and then you can go off piste, you know?
Like you have to know how to tease properly, or how to pin a clip properly, or how to spray properly, like the basic foundation things that you need to know.
If you know all those things and you fully understand the head shape, you understand, when it comes to like cutting, if you're cutting in graduation, you understand how the hair falls, you understand about hairlines and the differences and what's it going to do if you do this, and you break everything down really methodically and you really, really, really understand it. That is then when you really know your skill set, and then you can make it unique to you. Then you put a stamp on it. Then you take all that knowledge and you bring out your own taste and your own authentic way of being. That's what I think. And I think that when you do a course like Backstage Bootcamp, what we're trying to help is people in the industry. There's so many amazing hairdressers, they're out there, but they do, a lot of those hairdressers will be based in salons, and they're incredible, and they're unbelievable. The talent is insane, but the session industry, they come into the session industry and it's so different, and they're doing things that they've never done before, and so of course you're not going to know how to do it. It doesn't mean you can't do it, and it doesn't mean you're not going to be able to do it.
You know what it is? It's like speaking a language. It's like speaking Italian, and then you're in Rome, and then all of a sudden you're in Calabria. But even though it's the same language, it's different. You don't understand what's going on, right? So if you are new to that industry, you do still need to kind of learn the basics of editorial styling.
So it's just we basically provide this course that allows, I think me and Alfie basically had experienced, so many hairdressers come and they go so quickly because it's a very overwhelming space, and it's really fast paced, and no one has time to explain or teach you anything when you're there. You need to watch and learn on the job, and you get very often one chance to show what you can do. And I think both me and Alfie, where I had my experience with Guido Palau, which was an incredible experience, he had his experience with Eugene, and both of these incredible artists are at the top of their game, and they need strong teams, and you need to not allow that environment to take over your who you are, and allow you to get too nervous in the environment, say something you're not meaning and do something you're not meaning, because it's so busy and so chaotic, and you're very often squashed in a place. You don't have a lot of space backstage. You got to work.
It's not easy. It's like you're in the hair army.
It's just completely different. There's 50 models walking around. You have to be really on it. There are so many factors to making you succeed backstage at Fashion Week, And we just feel that it's not very often that you see a session stylist become at the top of his game without assisting. I mean, it's very, very rare. I don't actually even know anyone that's done it. I'm not saying there is people, there might be people that have done it, but I don't actually know anyone personally who hasn't assisted some of the greats to be, you know, where they are now.
Mm-hmm.
Most people have to assist. And so what we wanted to do with Backstage Bootcamp is actually teach these hairdressers the absolute fundamentals of being the best assistant, of understanding the language of backstage, the language of agencies, because you're dealing with agencies to get on to the shows.
And a lot of different personalities and maybe egos, and you gotta just keep to yourself and do what you're told, kind of thing, right?
And just understand that it's normal if you haven't heard, if you're confirmed on a show until, like, I think when I was first with Greedo, I had a show, a call time, an option for a call time for like 5 a.m. and it was midnight and I still didn't know if I was doing the job.
Wow.
So I obviously wanted to go to bed because I knew I had to be up at 3 in order to get there for 5.
Yes.
And yet it's 12 o'clock at night and I'm sat there thinking, I don't even know if I've got this. I don't know if I've got the job. And I'm emailing and I'm chasing.
Oh, I would be freaking out. Yeah. Like, why?
So that happens sometimes. Now, it's not a regular occurrence, but it happens and people don't know that. And so, we're there. We go into a lot of depth, way more depth than what I've just said, but full on details about what to expect, what not to expect, the language that's used, so that not only do you have the hands-on skills that are taught over those 2 days, but you also have the knowledge of this whole new industry to you, like this, obviously the agencies and the session stylists themselves. It's very, very, very different working in a salon. I mean, I got told once, I was like, what did they say to me? Anna, you're a talker. Just get on with it, because it's like,
and that's the other thing too. Yeah, you have to really put your head down and you only have a certain amount of time, and you've got so many models that have to get done. And I'm sure that the lead artist is super stressed because they're the sergeant and they have to make sure that all their soldiers are working and getting their stuff done. Yeah,
there's a lot of tension, and more so on some shows and less on others. Everyone's so different,
and everyone's got their different style, but whoever the team lead is, you really got to take their direction and make sure that you're doing exactly what they need.
Exactly. So with Backstage Bootcamp, we just basically make sure that you are fully prepared, and it's a 2-day course. Like I said, maximum of 12 students, because we want to make sure that both me and Alfie can walk around, can literally correct, so that we know that if you're not, we have very different levels on the course, but if you are less experienced, maybe you have no experience, you're not going to nail it in those 2 days. You're not going to nail how to do a wig wrap in those 2 days. But what I want to make sure is that there's not too many students on the course, so that then me and Alfie can make sure that you fully understand exactly what to do, so that then you can go home. You don't go home thinking, oh, I'm just not sure I really knew how to.
The hands-on makes such a difference. I mean, digital is great, and that's great to be able to learn at any time from anywhere, and that's like your brush up skills. But to actually physically try something that's different and new, you really got to do the hands-on. So how does someone go about signing up for your next hands-on session?
So the best thing to do is to actually just contact me via Session Kit, and I will just add you to the waiting list for now, because we are just in the process of trying to work out our next venue, basically. So
and that's going to be where, in the UK?
It will be in the UK, yeah. But yeah, we are in talks with other brands and things to see if we can bring it to other countries, but obviously it requires a lot more sponsorship in order to do that. Just because of the logistics and finances of getting us into a different country, you know. But yeah, so for now it's in the UK, but I mean, it's been amazing. We had people come over from all around the world. So we had people come from Australia, all around America, Canada, all around Europe, India. We had some people come over from India, some people, yeah. I mean, so it's, yeah, we've had everyone from all around.
We'll have to get you over here to Canada for sure. We'll have to make a plan.
I would love to. I would love to. Yeah, we want to take it as far as it can go, just because I do really believe that it's something that I think the session industry has become so popular within the industry. And actually now, back from when I was working in the salon owners are so much more flexible. I don't know what it's like in Canada, actually, in terms of that side of things, how you work things. But in the UK, and this was going back, 10 years ago, I was, there wasn't really the opportunities to be like self-employed in a salon, so you were always employed, so it made it very difficult for you to do
someone to leave the salon. Yeah, well, you know, since COVID a lot has changed, because we had shut down for a while, and a lot of people kind of went off and did like their own freelance stuff, or a lot of stylists are now coming back to the salon like 3 days a week instead. So yeah, I mean, that kind of changed the flexibility in terms of hours and availability. So it does give, hopefully, the opportunity for someone to become that. I know that there's a lot of artists out there that are striving to become a session stylist. So I really do believe that they should take a course like yours, just for starters, just to understand what it's all about. And not only that, but to know the exact proper tools that you should be using. And I'm dying to see what your kit looks like. How big is this?
I need to do that.
Bags, you know.
I know. Well, actually, I've been in talks with Gary Gill. You know, Gary Gill is an amazing session stylist and a good friend of mine, and we've been in talks about me doing a video around his kit. But I should start just with my own, because obviously I just have it.
Just go through it. Just say, this is what I use it for. This is whatever this product is. This is what I use it for. I think that'd be great. You know, I know Peter Gray's a good friend of mine, and I went to one of his sessions, and his kit sort of looked like something out of Home Hardware as well. Yeah. Right? Because when you're doing really creative art, when you're working with hair and creating art, you really need some different things, and then including a lot of wigs, because there's a lot of stuff you're not going to do to the model's hair.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, well, I mean, the models have a lot of like restrictions anyway as to what you can do with their hair. So you know, unless you're only using hairspray and gels, anything that's friendly for the hair is all okay. But other than that, I mean, if you're wanting to cut and color and use glues and all sorts, then no, of course it has to be the wigs, which is where a lot of people end up doing a lot of their creative work, you know, because it's you know, you don't have those limits or those restrictions to your creativity.
And if you need to take a blowtorch to it, it's fine.
Yeah, you know, anything will do. But yes, I remember working with him actually, and him having quite a lot of like different like glues and all sorts of things in his kit. I have my creative kit that's basically just, you know, I have my suitcase basically that's just absolutely full of all sorts of different materials and wigs, and you know, and they tend to be for the editorials that
right. So yeah, you kind of have your two separate kits. Like I myself as a makeup artist too, and I really, it's been a while since I've done something fun and creative, but I had my creative kit with my colors and the, you know, the textures and the things that are more editorial, more artistic, more fun. But I find that my regular kit, I'm always using the same things, because that's what normal, everyday, you know, commercial beauty looks look like.
Well, it's your bread and butter, it's your money, it's your, it's your everyday.
Yeah, this is your fun
everyone
kit, and this is your
yeah.
everyday kit.
Yeah, everyone has that, but like I
Yeah.
said, even those days I love doing, I still find it so fascinating, because you're still working with really like-minded creative people, because everyone has to do those jobs, right? I mean, you have to earn your way in order to do those creative jobs. So everyone does jobs that are there that are not as creatively stimulating, but they allow you to do the creative work. So, for me, and I still feel so grateful doing those jobs, because to me, just doing any hair, I love. I mean, I know lots of artists feel very differently about that. Some find it really challenging when they don't feel so creatively stimulated. But for me, I just love being around. It's an environment for me as well. Like I just love new people and
it's the creative juices flowing. It just it's the excitement of even like, wow, that ponytail is just so unique and awesome. Like you can get excited about a ponytail.
I think just talking, obviously you make friends with the makeup artists very often, and these people are like-minded, you're so on the same wavelengths, and very often, you have the same taste level. So when you're chatting, you just get inspired from each other, because you're chatting away, they might be doing something, you might ask a question, you might, and it just sort of, everything just leads to something. I find it just so much, just so stimulating,
right? And it's the collaboration of being with like-minded artists, and I always say it takes a team of 5. You've got your photographer, your model, your hairdresser, stylist, wardrobe stylist, makeup, and then your model. But you're like that crew, that team of people, when everybody's stellar, the outcome is just fantastic.
Yeah. And actually, amazingly, how much, not so much when you're working on set on an everyday job, but if you're doing a creative job, how much, if there is someone in the room that isn't quite, there's that friction.
The level, yeah.
Oh my God, just how much that impacts massively. Like even to the point of like, I only work with certain assistants that I know, because sometimes if you have an assistant that just, I don't know, you
jive with the group.
The energy is wrong for any reason, doesn't even, I don't know, for some reason, sometimes energies just don't mesh, and like, I think sometimes when you have that, just when you're doing creative work, it's like, it just like, like that, that's really hard sometimes, which is why it's so important to make sure that, like what I was saying, Backstage Bootcamp course, it's important to have the team around you, I mean, me and Gary Gill have a lot of chats around, how important like his team is to him, and I'm sure that goes for all of the top session stylists.
Yeah. And that's why the team end up being the same people, because it's very important, because that you can work with these people, and these people can work with everybody else. So it's all part of this chain, this group of flow of energy that works for everybody.
And that's why it's also, again, so important that people understand the whole concept of working backstage at Fashion Week is not just about, it's people who just are like, I've seen many hairdressers come onto a team and be very talented, but not get asked back.
Right.
It is not.
It's not just about talent. Yes.
You need the skills, 110%. You cannot be there and not have the skills in terms of being asked back and repeated. You can do Fashion Week, you could probably get on a few shows. But if you want to make a success of it and your end goal is to be a session stylist, there is so much more to it than just knowing how to do the perfect ponytail or what have you. If you can do hair perfectly well, but also have all the other things that are so important to being part of a good team, or just managing being part of a team and a big group of people, it just leads you up, it's just success. It's success for assisting, and then it's success for being a lead session stylist, because you are then going to be collaborating in another group of people, which is going to be the stylist, the makeup artist,
and a whole different dynamic than your last crew. Yeah,
exactly. So, you know, you have to be able to work in teams, and you have to be, you have to have so much. It's not, that's why I believe that actually to be successful at session styling, it is quite, you know, there's a lot of skill sets that you need to kind of know and take on board.
Yeah. And how long have you been doing it now? Because you've been at it for a while.
God, how many years? I mean, well, hairdressing in general, because it's probably a good 25 years.
Yeah. So, I mean, you take your behind the chair hairdressing skills, and which also led you to your social skills and your ability to be a part of a team. And it's a different ball game when you're backstage session styling, because it's not about having a chat and connecting with your client. It's actually probably not talking to her and just making sure that you get the job done. So it is a totally different thing.
But it's also, I think that my skills actually working in the salon for so long and working for like a really good salon where my training was incredibly hard and very strict, I felt really kind of gave me that foundations of not, I suppose it built my resilience, you know, like I'm naturally quite like that anyway, but like I don't really give up. I'm very persistent. I just keep going. But it built that. And then on top of that, because I was then working in a salon that, you know, I had, you know, easily 10 clients a day. And I had clients that, you know, were paying a lot for their haircut and they expected a lot from me. So they were very, not all of them, but many of them could be very demanding and quite hard to, you know, read them and work out what it is that they actually really want. And I felt that my consultation, you know, as it should be, I feel for everyone, is like 90% of the whole service, you know, like it's such a big part of it.
Because if you don't understand that first part, you're not going to give what you need to give, or they're not going to get what they expect.
And I see a lot of people actually sometimes where they just, I feel like that's something where people, I feel, don't consider it as a massive part, you know, of a really important part of their job. And I see that, you know, when if you can't learn to listen and take on board what that person is saying, essentially, if you're a session stylist and you're on set, you have to listen to your client, to the brand. You know, if you're doing a job for whoever it might be, they're going to have high expectations from you, right? You're going to be there. They're going to pay the money, no problem. But they have a massive expectation of you, right? And
high pressure,
and expectation, and that is essentially what you also get in the salon when you're working. You know, people
with
have
a
client from you. And you need to deliver, but in order to deliver, you have to listen. You have to listen, and you have to give constructive feedback that, you know, okay, from my experience, this is what we can achieve on you today. Right. But it's the same if you're talking to a brand and you're working on set for, you know, and you're trying to create this woman that they want to create, and you've got to give your expertise over to explain what is possible, what's not possible. Sometimes they just want your guidance. Sometimes they're not going to guide you and they want you to guide them, you know. So you need to be able to have those chats and have that talk. And I think that my consultation skills that I learned in the salon were actually really, you know, transferred over into session really well, because it's the same thing.
And this is why a session stylist isn't necessarily somebody who's new to the industry. You really got to pay your dues, put in some time, learn this aspect of it, learn the working with the team aspect, you know, learn the tools, learn the tricks, all of those things. So this is great, because this is exactly what you've created with Session Kit, and it just sounds like and looks like an amazing business, and The kit itself looks fantastic. I'm so happy that we're doing this giveaway together with Beauty Hub magazine.
Yes.
So that's on for this month, and you get to try some of the products out in the session kit. So that's really fantastic. Thank you so much.
Yeah, we've provided pretty much most of the main key products that are used backstage, like the black setting net, your hair net, all those sort of really, but you think those basics that are like so important to have in your kit.
Essentials.
The essentials. If you work backstage, like the session kit skinny dressing brush is used a lot for those sort of sleek ponytails and around the ear, making sure it's really nice and neat and tight. All those products are just key Fashion Week products. So hopefully it can help someone that's definitely starting out in the session industry, just providing those fundamentals really of those key tools.
Well, that's great. So with this competition, we have to make sure that anyone who's entering adds Session Kit, adds Beauty Hub magazine, signs up for our newsletters, and tags some friends and shares it in stories. So we'll see a lot of shares this month. And of course, they can always reach out to you and DM you personally, right?
Yes. So I have someone that helps me with my Instagram, but I'm also very much present on it. So anyone that has any questions, I mean, basically we're always open. Like if people, we have lots of requests from lots of customers that are new to the session industry, DMing us, wanting just a little bit of guidance on the tools, because again, like I said, some of the tools aren't known, and they don't really know what they need them for if you haven't worked in the session industry. And especially when you're just starting out, it's a big expense to get everything. I mean, I would say everything on Session Kit is everything that you need as a session stylist. But equally, I'm fully aware that, I also started out, from salon into session, and I know how expensive it is to just have that whole kit. We also have on our Instagram a Fashion Week kit list. So if that's just like I went into so much detail with that list. I emailed it to all of my session stylist friends to double check that everything I had on there.
Right, because you don't want to be on set and forget that one little thing that's so crucial that you're going to need all day long.
So
like if I ever go like do a shoot and then all of a sudden I'm like, oh my God, I'm out of sponges. What am I going to do?
So we've done this kit list. So on that post, if you comment Session Kit, I send you the whole list and also advice.
Great.
So next to each product, I give my advice into that product, like certain things that you think, well, why would I need that? So I give you advice as to why and when it's used, just so that then you can really for yourself go through the list and be like, okay, so what are going to be my key things that I have to get this year? And then what am I going to expand it with, because everything on that list is what you need. But with the sort of tips and the guidance that I've given, it makes it easier for you to go, okay, right, this year I'm going to get this, or however you want to break it up, whatever's comfortable for whoever, because it's a lot to get. Like I always really heavily promote that you can't go to Fashion Week with just one size of hair tongue. It's just not. It's just you can't. I mean, you don't know what the hair look's going to be ever. So unless you're part of the core team, you will not be what that look is.
You need to be fully prepared. You need to have your kit well stocked.
You don't want that moment to happen when Eugene or Guido or Gary Gill, anyone, Duffy, whoever comes over to you
and says, you need to do this.
And then so do this. And you go, I don't have that 13 millimeter tongue. I mean, it just doesn't look very
good,
so
make sure you have your 13 millimeter tongue.
But you have all the
That's your
vitamins.
essentials. But what I love is that this giveaway that we're doing is a good start to essentials, or just an addition to what you already have in your kit.
Yes.
And it's finding things that are vetted by you, that you know work really well because you took some time to invest in finding these products. So that is it's a really great start.
Yeah.
So
sorry, I was just going to say, with the vetting process, it's not just me like finding the tools or sourcing the tools just by the look of them. I know that they're going to be good or what I want, but I also do the testing process. So I will try and test every single tool that's on Session Kit. I have personally tried and tested. If I like that product and I think it's doing exactly what it says it's meant to do, its performance is really good, it's doing everything it's meant to do, I will then pass it on to, I have like a team of fellow session stylists that I fully trust, that I know are going to be absolutely 100% transparent with me and tell me exactly what they think, whether, whether or not I've said I love it, they're not going to tell me they love it as well. They'll tell me if they love it or if they don't like it, So I get real honesty from this just small team of session stylists that I use. So if I like it, I then ship it to them. They then test it for however long they want to test it for. And then they give me their feedback. If we're all happy and agreeance that it does what it's meant to do, then it will get stocked on Session Kit. So it's really a process that I feel that, because of my expertise and because I am a session stylist running this online shop and I'm not, just a business person, I just want to fully invest and make sure that, I suppose, I'm making the shopping experience. Online is very hard to shop, right? I mean, you've only got these pictures and it's very hard to know exactly, even though you provide measurements, it's hard to visually see and hold and know whether you want the product. So by me doing the testing process, I know that everything on there does what it's meant to do. It also means I can provide an extremely detailed description of the product.
You know exactly, it's tried and tested, and this is like your one-stop shop, where to go. And so I'm just gonna wrap it up here. So where can we find you? Can you just give us your website and your Instagram?
So it's www.sessionkit.com. and that's our website, and then it's at Session Kit for our Instagram. So either way, you can reach out to us. There's a contact info at Session Kit on the website, on the www.sessionkit.com, and obviously via DM on Session Kit. And if you want to be the first to know about any of the new products that are launched, we always launch that out to our subscribers before it goes live on Instagram. So the way to know about any new products straight away is to just subscribe on the website, which is obviously completely free. It's just a normal subscription, and we don't email all the time. We just simply email when we have
because you're so busy. Yes. I fully understand.
If I could market a bit more by email, I would, but I don't have the time.
That's okay. So perfect. So make sure everyone joins Session Kit and signs up for the newsletter, and hopefully, one lucky winner will take away this great Session Kit Session Kit, and be able to add that, and hopefully, take one of your courses, because they sound really fantastic, and your experience is just amazing. You're top notch, and it's just always such a pleasure chatting with you.
Oh, thank you so much. And honestly, thank you for your time. I appreciate you're super busy as well.
Well, you're super busy too. I get it. So good to see you. And of course, we're in touch all the time.
Perfect. Take care.
Okay. Thank you so much, Anna. Have a great day.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye.